I didn't mean to be there that late. The cafe was almost empty, just the low hiss of the espresso machine and a single lamp throwing a circle of gold on the corner table. I was wiping down the counter, half thinking about my exams, half watching the rain smear down the windows. That's when she walked in, not fast, not slow, but with that kind of presence that makes a room quieter without anyone noticing why. She was older than most of the regulars, maybe mid-40s, coat still damp from the rain, hair tucked back but a few strands fallen loose. She hesitated at the door like she might leave again, then saw me and gave the smallest, tiredest smile. It wasn't a hello smile. It was the kind people give when they're not sure they should be anywhere at all. "Still open?" she asked. Her voice was low, a little rough like she'd been talking all day. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound casual. "You're fine." She ordered tea, not coffee, and chose the corner booth, the one near the heater. From behind the counter I caught her rubbing her hands together, then staring at them as though she didn't recognize them. I don't know why, but I brought the tea over myself instead of calling her name. She thanked me without looking up at first, then lifted her eyes. That look lasted too long to be nothing. Her eyes were green, but not bright, more like bottle glass. Up close, I noticed she was beautiful in a way that didn't feel planned, no heavy makeup, no effort to impress. Just a woman who looked like she'd walked out of a life that kept asking for more than she could give. "You're new here," she said finally, breaking the stare. "Couple months." I wiped a ring of condensation off the table, though there wasn't one. "I usually don't come this late," she murmured. We kept trading these small, unimportant lines while something else hummed underneath. She didn't ask me anything personal, but she kept glancing at my hands as I picked at the edge of my apron. Her own hands stayed wrapped around the mug even after the tea had cooled. Every so often she'd press her lips together like she wanted to say something but thought better of it. It should have been just another customer. But when she laughed softly at one of my clumsy jokes, it wasn't polite laughter. It cracked open for a second, like she remembered what it felt like to be surprised. Rain kept sliding down the window beside her. The cafe smelled of wet wool and chamomile. I caught myself standing closer than I needed to when I asked if she wanted a refill. She looked up, a flicker of something unguarded passing over her face, then she shook her head. "I'm fine," she said. Pause. "I just didn't want to sit alone tonight." That confession sat between us heavier than the tea mug. I nodded, not trusting myself to say anything. The heater clicked off. In the silence, I heard her breathing. I should have walked back to the counter. Instead, I stayed there, my hand on the edge of her table. She lifted her gaze again. This time she didn't look away. And in that suspended second, the rain, the empty cafe, the smell of her damp coat, it felt like something irreversible had started. Then her phone lit up on the table, vibrating hard against the wood. She didn't touch it. She just kept looking at me. Her phone buzzed again before she finally flipped it face down, screen going dark. The rain had stopped, leaving only the muted hum of the cooler behind the counter. I could feel my heartbeat in my palms. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I keep meaning to turn that off." "No worries," I murmured, though every vibration felt like someone else in the room. She exhaled through her nose, a sound closer to defeat than annoyance. "It's my daughter. She's at college. She worries if I'm out late." She said it casually, but there was an edge under the words. I tried not to look surprised. "I didn't know you had kids," I said. "One," she corrected. "She's 21. That landed like a pebble in my stomach. 21 my age? The math was quick, unavoidable. I leaned on the edge of the booth. "She's about my age then." Her lips quirked but didn't turn into a smile. "Exactly your age." Silence swelled again. She reached for her mug, though it was empty, just to have something in her hands. I thought about telling her how I'd ended up here, that I'd dropped out of a program I hated, that this cafe was my only anchor right now, but my throat tightened. Instead, I said, "She must be proud. College and all." "She is," she whispered. Then, almost to herself, "I think." Her eyes flicked to mine for a moment, and I recognized something familiar, that look you get when you're not sure of who you are once someone stops needing you. I cleared my throat. "I was supposed to be in college too. Architecture. Didn't stick." She tilted her head. "Why?" I shrugged. "Felt like I was building things for other people, not myself." My dad didn't take it well. I gave a little laugh that wasn't funny. "I guess we all disappoint someone." That drew the first real smile from her, small but there. "We do," she said. She rubbed the back of her neck, eyes darting to the door like she was checking who might walk in. I realized she was nervous about being seen here, with me, at this hour. "Look," she started, then stopped. "This is not something I should." She broke off, pressing her lips together. I didn't move. "I know," I said quietly. "Me neither." Her hands dropped into her lap. She stared at them, then at me. "I just wanted some company. That's all." "Yeah." My voice cracked. "Me too." We sat there with the kind of stillness that feels like the whole room is holding its breath. Then, without warning, she reached across the table and brushed a crumb from my sleeve. Her fingers lingered just long enough to be deliberate. Neither of us said a word. She withdrew her hand like she'd been burned, fingers curling back into her lap. A pulse of silence rolled through the cafe. The heater clicked on again, blowing warm air that made my neck feel hotter. "I shouldn't," she began, then stopped. Before I could answer, the doorbell above the entrance chimed. We both turned. A guy in a delivery jacket stepped in, holding a brown paper bag. He scanned the room, saw her, and brightened. "Ms. Cavanaugh? This is yours," he said, setting the bag on the counter. Her face changed, too fast for most people to notice, but I caught it. The color drained a little. "Thank you," she murmured, fishing for cash. "Don't worry, already paid." He gave a half wave and left, the bell jangling again. I watched her watching the door close. "Friend?" I asked. "Neighbor," she said quickly, tucking a stray hair behind her ear. "He wasn't supposed to." She trailed off, biting the inside of her cheek. The room felt smaller, like someone had turned the walls inward. I moved back behind the counter but couldn't stop glancing at her. She was scrolling through her phone now, jaw tight. "You okay?" I asked. She looked up and for a second her eyes were wet. "I'm fine. Just people assume things." I swallowed. "About us?" Her lips parted but no sound came out. Finally she whispered, "About me." She stood suddenly, like staying seated would trap her. "I should go." I stepped out from behind the counter before I could think. "Wait." She froze halfway to the door. Rain had started again, tapping the windows. "You don't have to explain," I said. "I get it." "No," she said softly. "You don't." She turned back toward me, her coat half on, eyes flashing with something between fear and want. "I have a daughter your age. A husband I haven't spoken to in months but who still signs the checks. I'm not someone you should be standing this close to." Her voice cracked on. "Close." I should have stepped back. Instead I closed the space. Only a foot between us now. The scent of her damp coat and tea hit me like a memory I didn't have. "I'm not." I started then stopped. "I just don't want you to leave like this." Her breath caught. We were staring at each other again, like the first night. Outside, a car honked. Inside, the cooler hummed. Then, without thinking, she lifted her hand as if to push me away but ended up brushing her fingers against my jaw instead. It was the softest touch, a tremor of warmth. She dropped her hand instantly, eyes wide. "This can't happen," she whispered. But she didn't move toward the door. And neither did I. The next evening she came in even later. No umbrella this time, hair plastered to her cheeks, eyes darting toward the street before the door closed behind her. She didn't order anything. She just slid into the same booth and kept her coat on. I locked the front door out of habit. It was closing time anyway, but the sound of the deadbolt made the air between us heavier. She noticed. Her gaze flicked to my hands, then to the empty cafe. "You shouldn't lock up just for me," she said. Her voice was hoarse, softer than last night. "You're the only one here," I said. "It's fine." She pressed her palms flat to the table as though she was holding herself down. "I told myself I wouldn't come back. I stayed by the counter, hard hammering." "But you did. That was a mistake." Her eyes found mine. "My husband called last night. He's coming back into town." The words hit like cold water. I'd imagined the situation was complicated, but hearing it out loud, "husband," made the room tilt a little. "I'm sorry," I said, though I wasn't sure for what. She gave a shaky laugh. "Don't apologize. You're the only person I can stand to be around lately. That's the problem." The problem. The way she said it made my chest tighten. I moved to her booth without asking. She didn't flinch, but she didn't meet my eyes either. "I don't care if it's a problem," I said quietly. "I care that you're sitting here, soaked and shaking." Finally she looked at me. "You're 20. My daughter's 21. People already think." She trailed off, biting her lip. "It's not fair to you." I almost laughed, bitter, not funny. "You think this is about fair? I'm the one who waits for the doorbell just to see if it's you. I'm the one who keeps thinking about you when I should be studying. So if it's unfair, it's on me." Her eyes filled, but she blinked hard, refusing to let it spill. "You don't know what you're saying." "I know exactly." My hand hovered over the table. "I know I don't want to stop." Her breath came faster. "Stop," she whispered, but her fingers crept toward mine, stopping an inch short. Outside, thunder cracked, rattling the window. The lights flickered. She startled, and in that flicker her hand brushed against my knuckles. Neither of us moved away. "I can't do this," she said, but her voice was breaking. "I can't, then tell me to leave," I said. "Look at me and tell me." Her eyes rose slowly to mine. Her lips parted as if to speak. And then the cafe door rattled, someone testing the handle from outside. We both froze. The door rattled again. This time it opened. A young woman stepped inside, damp hair, university sweatshirt, backpack still on. She froze when she saw us. I recognized her from the picture on Ms. Kavanaugh's phone background, her daughter. For a heartbeat no one moved. "Mom?" she said, voice sharp, confused. The older woman's hand shot back from mine like she'd touched fire. "Claire. What are you? Why aren't you at school?" "I came home early," Claire said. Her eyes flicked between us, reading the distance, the wet coats, the locked door. "What is going on?" I stood so quickly my chair scraped the tile. "Nothing. We were just, don't," Claire snapped. "Don't lie." Ms. Kavanaugh's shoulders slumped. "Claire, please. Sit down." But Claire didn't move. She looked at me now, anger flickering into something else. Betrayal? As though she'd recognized me from somewhere. "You're the barista," she said slowly. "You're the one who keeps texting me about shifts." I blinked. "You work here?" "I used to." Her voice cracked. "You didn't know I was her daughter?" "No," I said, throat tight. "I swear I didn't." She laughed, a short, hurt sound. "God. Mom." Ms. Kavanaugh reached out but stopped halfway. "Claire, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think." Claire shot back. I knew you were lonely, but this? With someone my age? The older woman's face crumpled, but she held her ground. You don't understand. No, Claire said. I understand perfectly. Dad called me last night. He's coming back because he's worried about you. And this is what he's walking into. Her words landed like stones. Mess. Kavanaugh's eyes closed, a small tremor in her hands. Enough, she whispered. Claire stared at her a moment longer, then turned and walked out into the rain. The door slammed behind her, the bell clanging offbeat. Silence rushed in, thick and heavy. I stared at the floor, my chest pounding. I swear I didn't know, I said again, softer this time. I know, Ms. Kavanaugh said. She sounded older than she had 5 minutes ago. I never told you her name. I never told you anything. She sat back down slowly, like her body might give out. Everything I was trying to keep separate just crashed together. I slid into the seat opposite her. We'll figure it out, I said, though I had no idea how. Her eyes lifted to mine, wet and shining. You shouldn't even be sitting here, she whispered. This could ruin you. But she didn't tell me to leave. Outside, the rain came harder, drumming on the glass like applause for some scene we couldn't escape. The café was a wreck of silence after Claire left. Chairs pushed out, crumbs on the floor, rain hammering the windows. Ms. Kavanaugh sat slumped in the booth, coat still on, palms covering her face. I wanted to go to her but stayed standing, hands gripping the counter until my knuckles whitened. I ruined everything, she whispered. You didn't, I said, though I wasn't sure it was true. Her head lifted slowly. Her eyes were red, mascara smudged. You don't understand what you're stepping into. My marriage, my daughter, the gossip. She shook her head. You should walk away now before it all sticks to you. I can't, I said. My voice came out steadier than I felt. You think this is a game to me? It's not. I didn't plan any of this, but I'm here. I keep showing up. She stared at me as if she'd been waiting for me to break. You're so young, she said quietly. I'm supposed to be the adult in the room. Then be honest, I said. Do you want me to leave? Her lips parted, then closed again. She looked down at her hands, twisting her wedding ring she hadn't worn for months but still carried in her coat pocket. I don't know what I want, she said. I just know how it feels when you look at me. And I know I haven't felt that in a very long time. I walked over and sat opposite her. I don't know what comes next either, I said. But I'm not going to pretend you're just some customer anymore. Her eyes met mine. For the first time since we'd met, there was no guardedness in them, only fear and something like hope. She reached across the table, and this time her hand found mine without hesitation. Her palm was cold, trembling. Everything will change if we keep going, she said. Claire, my husband, your life, I know. I squeezed her hand. But if we stop now, it still changes. We'll just be two people pretending we never sat here like this. Her eyes searched mine, desperate, weighing everything at once. You're choosing the hard road, she said. Maybe, I said. But so are you. A flash of lightning lit the café, bright enough to make us blink. In the stark white light she looked almost like a stranger, and then like someone I'd known forever. She leaned forward just a little, not a kiss, just close enough for me to smell rain and tea and her perfume. Her thumb brushed the back of my hand in a slow, uncertain stroke. We sat like that, suspended between choice and consequence, the door still locked, the rain still coming down. Neither of us spoke, but neither of us let go. The rain had stopped by morning, leaving the street washed clean and the cafe windows streaked with light. I'd stayed up all night wiping down counters, making coffee I didn't drink, waiting for something, a call, a knock, a sign. At 7:30 the bell over the door chimed. She came in without her coat, hair still damp but neatly pinned. No makeup. No wedding ring. She looked like someone who hadn't slept either. "I thought you wouldn't come back," I said. "I almost didn't." She set her bag on the counter. "Claire and I talked all night." My stomach tightened. "How bad?" She gave a tired laugh. "Bad, then better. She's hurt. She's angry. But she said something I didn't expect." She paused, eyes flicking to mine. "She said I look alive again." I didn't know what to say. I wiped an already clean spot on the counter. "And your husband?" "He's still coming," she said. "But not to drag me back. To sign papers." A tiny exhale. "We've been over for a long time." I just kept pretending. We stood there in the quiet morning café, steam curling from the espresso machine. For the first time since I'd met her, the tension between us didn't feel like a trap. It felt like a choice. "You're sure?" I asked. "No," she said honestly. "But I'm sure I can't go back to the way I was. And I don't want to lie to anyone anymore." She gave a small, crooked smile. "Including you?" Something loosened in my chest. "Then maybe we start with honesty." "Honesty," she echoed. She stepped closer, fingers brushing mine on the counter, not shy now. "I don't know what this will look like. People will talk. We'll make mistakes. We already have," I said. She laughed, a soft sound. "Yes. And yet," she left the word hanging. We stood facing each other as the first customers of the day passed by outside, oblivious. I reached over and turned the closed sign to open, without looking away from her. It felt symbolic, even if it was just a piece of plastic. Her hand slid fully into mine. Warm now. Firm. Not trembling. "We don't have to know the ending," I said. "No," she agreed. "We just have to begin." And for a moment, with sunlight breaking through the rain-streaked glass, the smell of coffee and wet pavement, her hand steady in mine, it felt like a beginning. I squeezed her fingers gently. "Stay for breakfast?" She nodded. "I'd like that." We didn't kiss. We didn't make promises. We just stood there, holding hands over the counter as the day started around us. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?